Good morning. Good morning, everybody. I am fully embracing red light therapy. So if you see a weird red light on my face, I sit here at my desk with my red light therapy. If you aren't geeking out on that yet, you need to go do some research. Unfortunately, like the way my setup is, I feel like this side of my face is the texture is actually starting to be a little different. So it actually works. So I need to like move it around. But anyway, so that's what the weird red glow is, if you were wondering. Okay, so couple of housekeeping things. We have relaunched the 4K challenge. If you are not in it and would like to be, there is an opt-in form in the team page for the April challenge. You just need to fill it out and Venmo the $25 and let someone know, myself or Ange, that you did that so that we can get you added. Our first April Zoom is tomorrow. Zooms are Sunday mornings. We will be giving away prizes this time for live attendees. So there'll be special things for live attendees, whether it's I promise to make you a graphic that week personally for you, or something from the prize cabinet. I just finished wrapping up the ones from last week. If you were on live last week and did not get me your address, please drop your address in the chat. Don't send it to me personally, drop it in the chat. That way it is there in case anybody else needs it, like Ange or somebody. So if you attended live last Sunday, Easter Sunday, and you did not drop your address, please do that. Because I still need a few addresses. If I had that list here, I'd tell you who they were, but I don't have it. So Cindy, they are 8 a.m. Sunday mornings. We will have the recording up for the rest of the day. But then the recording goes away. So this is kind of like one of those things where we'd really prefer you to attend live. So we're going to incentivize that. But we also know that Sunday mornings tend to be family days or different time zones or whatever, and it's not feasible. But yes, Cindy, you need to get into the 4K challenge. The opt-in form is in the team page. You can just search April challenge or 4K challenge. You'll find it. So that starts tomorrow. Well, it's been all week, but our first Zoom for the month will be tomorrow. We have an awesome promo going on right now with the $25 in credits added. So don't forget to promote that. They just dropped a sale today, a buy two, get one free for spring clean out. If you have a sale list, we've been preaching the sale list for years. If you still haven't started one, I don't even know what to tell you guys at this point, but start one. Like on the call, Crystal said, if people drop away from Thrive, it is 98% a financial thing, that it is not that the product didn't work or they didn't like it, is usually financial. And when that happens, I am always asking somebody, I have a script right in my phone that says, I totally get it. Would you like me to add you to your sale list would you like me to add you to my sale list? Because this company drops sales all the time. Like there is no reason people should pay full price for this product ever, 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 ever. So, and I would have to say, I could probably count on one hand over the 7 years I've been doing this, that somebody said, no, don't bother. Usually they're like, yeah, I would love to know when the sales are. Sorry, I don't have the chat up. I saw the notification come up. Where is it? There's not I know, right? Or promotions for the promoters to earn money. Like, come on now. So you definitely want to make sure you have a sale list going on. I run mine through Project Broadcast. That's a different training, but it is so stinking easy for me. I would have to say if you've got more than 20 people on your sale list, Project Broadcast is definitely, because we run so many sales, there's so many promos that it's so automated. It's awesome. So, but don't forget about that sale today, especially if you need to stock up. I would make sure all of your promoters that are in your downline are also on that like notification cycle, because a lot of promoters, I mean, let's face it, lots of people come in this business thinking they're going to promote and they just essentially become glorified customers. So I always make sure that I try to let people know that there's a sale going on because, why not? I'm always trying to save people money, whether it's the customers or promoters that have trusted me through this process. So thank you, Tazzy. Got your address. Actually, I did have your address. I should double check it though, make sure it's correct. But I did have a few of you in my system already. Okay. Today's Zoom. I'm like one of those people. I'm not a plan. Like I'm a planner in life. Except most recently I've learned to just take it day by day. But when it comes to Zooms and content, I'm very much like I could never plan my content out for a month or even a week because so much of my content is mood based. Like you always know what Jen's feeling that day because of my content. So team Zooms are very much like that. Like I can't bring the heat for you guys if I'm not feeling it. So a lot of times, I mean, and I know I can speak for Ange on this one too, because we have this conversation a lot. A lot of times it's Saturday morning team Zoom time, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to talk about. Sorry, excuse my language, because there's that just not that like zhizh, like there's not that thing. So, but I think I've stepped into a landmine field of team Zooms with this new book I'm reading. So I think we're gonna do a series. I got the book on mental toughness by Andy Frisella. You cannot buy it on Amazon. If you decide to go buy it, I 100% recommend you buy it. But don't buy it on Amazon because there's a fake out there, and I accidentally got that one because I'm such an Amazon user. And Andy Frisella is like one of those people. I don't know why he refuses to sell on Amazon, but you can't buy any of his books on Amazon from him anyway. So this book, I highly recommend you go get this book because we're going to do, the chapters are very, very, very short. It's an easy read. But I'm feeling a lot of team trainings coming from this book. And today's training, I literally was on chapter 5 because I think I just started it this week, this book. I've had it for a few weeks. I can't remember. I don't know. I usually have 3 or 4 or 5 or 8 books going on at one time. So I can't remember when I started it. But anyway, this chapter 5 today just spoke to me, especially with us going into the 4K challenge for April, coming out of one for March. I really feel like this is going to speak to a lot of you. So I'm actually going to read it to you and then pause and go over a couple of things. But one thing I want you to pay attention to is which category do you fall into as someone going after goals? So, and this is literally, I think this chapter is 3 pages long. It's not very long. So it's chapter 5. It's called the 2%. So he says, everyone wants to be successful, everyone, which I don't think is a lie. We might all have different definitions of what success looks like, but we all want to have it. The guy who wants to be rich wants to be successful in his goals. The person who wants to reach a higher state of mindfulness wants to be successful in their goals. The lady who wants to live a minimalist lifestyle wants to be successful in her goals. We can have a billion different goals for a billion different people, but the truth is that bottom line, everybody wants to hit their goals. Everybody wants to be successful. So why aren't they? Why do so few people consider themselves successful? Can you drop in the chat a yes or a no if you consider yourself successful? And I will tell you, and I'm sure a lot of people will look at me and say, oh, well, you're successful. I don't think I'm successful at all. I feel like I work very hard every single day of my life to have what I have. And people will, it still shocks me. There's still like times I'll be talking to people and they're like, oh, you're, successful because you own a salon, or you're successful because you own this, or successful because you do this. And I'm like, I don't look at it that way at all, but whatever. So just know that it's really okay for you to be like, no, I don't think that at all. So you already know by now that there's going to come down to some mental toughness. This whole book is on mental toughness because everything comes down to mental toughness, which I 100% believe. But I'm going to crunch the numbers with you. I'm going to share with you what I've seen for decades of building businesses from the ground up, working alongside elite athletes, and reading every book I can get my hands on about what it means to become successful. Let's start with 100 people. Now, this is where I need you guys to really like kind of pay attention. Listen up. I want to know which group you fall into. So we're starting with 100 people. These 100 people all have different goals and they all want to be successful. So every single one of you has a goal. A lot of times they're different goals. I have the goal of I want this team to be $1 million a month and I want to, rock a bikini on the beach. You know what I mean? Like those are my goals. Hold on, I need some water. So everybody, your goal may be to just earn an extra $500 a month from Le-Vel. Your goal may not to be to ever buy a bikini. You know what I mean? So everybody's different. Okay. Now, would you believe me if I tell you of the 100 people, 70 of these people will never take the first step to chasing that success? So if you're in group 1, I want you, now I don't want you to drop it because I want you to hear all the groups, okay? But write it down. If you feel like you're in group 1, that you're the 70% of people of 100, so 70 out of 100, they set a goal, but they never take that first step to chasing that success. Would you believe me if I told you that they will give up before they even try? If you've been living life with your eyes open, this won't surprise you. I bet all the way since high school, you've heard people say things like, it's not what you know, it's who you know. I don't have the right genetics. Rich people are selfish anyway. I don't need money to be happy. And then, of course, Andy Frisella and Andy's fashion. I love this man, literally, like love him. He goes, and it's in like parentheses after that, I don't need money to be happy. And he goes, and you don't. But by the way, you know what's guaranteed a way to be unhappy? Worrying about paying your bills every month and not having the money to pay your grandma's hospital bill if she needs it. I love him. I can't guarantee that you've heard people spout these kinds of excuses, and they are excuses. Again, I'll reread the excuses. It's not what you know, it's who you know. I don't have the right genetics. Rich people are selfish anyway. I don't need money to be happy. So let's call them what they are. They're excuses to dismiss the possibility of success before they even get to it. Who is that? Why would someone wave the white flag on life before they even get started? The answer is simple. They're afraid. They're living in fear. And when he says we'll cover fear in the next chapter, which will be next month's or next week's Zoom, but he says he will cover fear in the next chapter, how to beat it. But let me say this for now. Fear will stop most people from even attempting to be successful. The fear of what others think, the fear of the unknown, the fear of the hard work. Do you fear what other people think? Do you fear the unknown? Or do you fear the work that's going to go into it? To mask that fear, they'll say that success relies on being lucky. So instead of saying, no, I'm just afraid of all this, they'll be like, oh, it's just a stroke of luck. Or knowing the right people, and we all know that's bullshit. You have to be lucky to win the lottery, but people still play it every week. And I'm betting they're the same people in your life who say that success is about luck. If you know someone, again, you got to love Andy Frisella. If you know someone who plays the lottery but believes in the success fairy, then get that person out of your life. They will be a drain on you always. They know deep down that it's the hard work that matters, and they won't want you proving that to them. Let me read that again. They believe if they're the people that are like, success is only for the lucky, and if you're one of these people, I need you to listen to this. They know deep down it's the hard work that matters, and they wouldn't want you proving that to them. So they're always going to try to sabotage your success. So are you that person trying to sabotage your success if you're in this 70%? Or do you have people in your life that are like that? That's a harsh reality. A lot of these 70 people never get going on their path to success because the people around them kill their drive with constant negativity. Is this you? They'll hear things like, the odds are against you. Don't you think you're better than us? Why do you think you're so special? Do you say these things to yourself? I need an Andy voice and then a Jen voice. So I know that, like, so you know that, like, this is Jen's voice saying, Do you say these things to yourself? Andy goes, let me tell you right now, you are special. The simple fact that you've picked up this book already puts you in the minority. Jen's voice now. The simple fact you are on this Zoom at 10:30 on a Saturday morning when a lot of people aren't, like 6,000 some promoters on this team aren't, you are special and you are worthy of going after what you want. Most people, Andy, we're back to Andy. Most people never read a book again after high school. So congratulations, you've already shown you can separate yourself from the herd. That's so true. Like when he said that, I'm like, oh my gosh, you're so right. The truth is, and I don't care who you are, it's hard to hear those kinds of things from people in your life, especially when you're young. We're born with the need to be accepted. Back in the day, not to be accepted meant that you were going to die in the forest alone for those, but those days are gone. You will find your new tribe. You won't get there until you leave the old ways of thinking behind. Nick Saban, one of the greatest coaches of all time, has this to say on it. Mediocre people don't like high achievers. High achievers don't like mediocre people. And that was such an aha moment for me because I find myself, and it's a lot of times in conversations with Ange when we're like just chit-chatting, I find myself saying, I don't have time for the drama. I don't have time for this. I don't, and that's my way of saying, I can't do this because I don't want to be mediocre. I'm a high achiever. I thrive on that. I thrive on what I do. I thrive on my work. That's what fills my cup. So it was funny how he put it, like mediocre people don't like high achievers and high achievers don't like mediocre people. You can't have one foot in both camps. Either you want to be elite or you don't. And that doesn't mean you need to entirely cut off mediocre people, but it does mean that you need to cut yourself off from their way of thinking, especially if it's your way of thinking. I love spending time with my dog Otis, but that does not mean I take his career advice. You've got to think about your bitter old uncle the same way. Love them for who they are, but ask yourself, is this a person in a position that I want to be in? If not, why would you take their advice? Why would you believe them when they're saying all this other stuff? I gotta like get myself a bookmark because every time I stop, I lose my spot. Of course, they'll take. Why would you take their advice? If they knew it all, they'd be where you'd want to be, right? Of course, they'll tell you that they could have been if it just wasn't for bad luck or some asshole that ruined their life. And that brings us to our second group of people. So that was the first group of people. Second group of people. From the 30 that actually took their first steps to reach their goal, 20 of them will fall flat at the next hurdle. They never overcame that initial fear to start the journey, or they overcame the initial fear to start the journey, but at the very first obstacle, they quit. Are you in that group of people? So group 2. Group 1 is you never took the first step. Group 2 is you took the first step, but the first sign of rejection, that first no, that first sign of an obstacle, you fall flat on your face and quit. Why? Because they realize that the dream they had is not the reality. They realize that to achieve something means overcoming one obstacle, then another, and never stopping. Their journey to success starts and ends with something like this. I wanted to be an athlete. I tried, but I hurt my ankle. I wanted to be an author. I tried, but no publisher answered my emails. I wanted to build a business. I tried, but I didn't make a profit for 6 months. Out of the 30 people that actually start their success journey, 20 of them give up at the first sign of things not going their way. They said that they wanted the dream, but the truth is they never actually had the mental toughness to get there. That kind of goes with the meme I dropped in the chat the other day that so many people are praying to the universe for the cake, and the universe sends them the oven, the pans, the flour, the eggs, and they quit because they were given all the tools to achieve what they needed to achieve, but they didn't have the mental toughness to bake the damn cake. Only 10 out of our 100 people do. This is what they said when they hit the same obstacles. I wanted to be an athlete. I hurt my ankle, but I attacked my rehab. It was hard, but now I'm stronger and faster than ever. I wanted to be an author. No publisher answered my emails. So I went back and redrafted my book 10 times and submitted it again. That don't quit attitude. I wanted to build a business. I didn't make a profit for 6 months, so I found ways to streamline costs and improve our service. That don't quit attitude. There's no secret formula as to why 20 people gave up at this stage and the 10 did not. The only difference is their mental toughness. 20 people saw something hard and decided they'd rather give up than have to go into a higher gear. The other 10 said, this is hard, but I want to be successful. I won't let this stand in my way. So what kind of attitude? So with that kind of attitude, these remaining 10 guys are guaranteed success, right? Okay, so that's our third group of people. They're guaranteed to become the elite and reach their goals. Wrong. While they've shown that they have the mental toughness to overcome setbacks, it requires a different kind of mental toughness to win out in the grind. You see, big obstacles will come at you in life and business, and you need mental toughness to overcome them. But it's actually a lot easier to rally for these moments than it is to show up for the mundane ones. Let me give you an example. If a guy has a heart attack, that big event will probably kickstart him into doing some kind of exercise and diet program, right? But that could have been avoided with the daily discipline of showing up every day for cardio in the first place. If your business was if your business was hit with a huge bill that would bankrupt you, then you'd look for every single way that you could to save money, but are you executing like that on a daily basis? Or does it take a crisis to make it happen? What about relationships? Are you really only really showing up for birthdays and big occasions, or are you making the effort day in and day out to be a great partner, parent, or friend? And the nasty reality of success is that it's the mundane and often boring tasks that bring the highest level of success. Do you think Kobe Bryant enjoyed his hours of exercise and repetitive shot taking as much as he enjoyed playing in front of a sold out crowd? Hell no. But he put the same effort into all of them, and that's why he'll always be remembered as great. I don't care how visionary you are or how good your athletic ability is. If you don't show up every day, let me rephrase that. I don't care how good you are with anything you do, but if you don't show up every day, lost my place, do this every time, you will never reach your potential. You will never become the elite. Okay, here we go. Here's another group of people. 8 out of our remaining 10 people will drop out at this stage. So we've got the people, group 1 is the people that never took the first step. Group 2 is the people that took the first step, but the first sign of obstacles, quit. Group 3 are the people that couldn't keep going through the obstacles and couldn't do that daily mundane, show up every day through the mundane stuff. Group 4, 8 out of our 10 remaining people will drop out at this stage. They had an idea and they tried it. They overcame their first obstacles, but they just didn't have the grit and self-discipline to keep showing up day in and day out. It's called the grind for a reason. I'm sure you can think of a public figure who showed up for a minute on the big stage and then was gone. There's tons of one-hit wonders out there. Maybe just they thought they made it, took their foot off the gas. How many people have hit a bonus and took their foot off the gas? Lots of people. I've seen them come and go time and time again. Like I said before, I believe that you're special. Everyone in their own way. The world is full of talent potential, but only 2% truly fulfill it. So only out of two out of the 100 people who said they wanted success actually have the fortitude to make it happen. And why? It's because they have mental toughness. And it's because they have mental toughness through all of those phases, not just the first one or not just the second one. And then he talks about in the part 2 of the book, the 75 hard program will show you how to master that grind. I mean, 75 hard is really big on mental toughness and self-discipline. You're not alone because you want to be successful. You're not only one person. you're not the only person to take the first steps. You haven't made it because you overcame a few obstacles, and it's a lot easier to climb that mountain than it is to stay on top. That's another thing. It's a lot easier to climb that mountain than it is to stay on top. That doesn't mean you shouldn't try. If you're thinking that way, then you're one of 70. The choice is yours. Either way, you only have to live with the decisions that you make. So what will it be? Are you going to quit before you even start? Are you going to quit when the times get tough? Are you going to quit after you've had some success? Or are you going to develop the mental toughness to master the grind and earn your place at the 2%? So I explained the groups. What group do you see yourself in? And put them in group 4. Come on, guys. I'll call you out. Kazi group 2. And this is not for me to like, I hope this is just a little bit of an eye-opener of like where your, not necessarily holes are, but where your brain just shuts off. Sadly, I think I'm in group 3. And what it takes to get to that next level. I think this was super, I love this book. Like I said, I love this book. I highly recommend it. The next, Becca, what group are you in? Come on. 3. So then what you want to do, Lori's 3. What you want to do is then work through it. Figure out how to get past the book. He says that. You're right, Cindy. He says that, but if you get on the wait list, mine shipped the next day. I think because he self-publishes, he says that about the 75 hard book too. So like I said, I put myself on the wait list and it was shipped out the next day. So I would just do that. But like I said, I think it was really great to kind of have the Book of Mental Toughness by Andy Frisella. It's a hardcover. Don't get it on Amazon. It's a fake. I mean, the one on Amazon is kind of neat because it gives you like these checklist pages for it. But you want to get the one from him. I highly recommend the 75 hard book too if you're on his website. That is a really good book. It talks about, he breaks it down to he breaks down the science and the psychology, I guess I should say, of why he designed the 75 hard program the way he did and why the tasks are the way they are. And it really it was really neat perspective, to be honest, to do that, to see that. So it's really good. So, all right, guys, that's all I have for you. Let me stop the recording. Does anybody have any questions?